San Diego once sold itself as America's finest city, but by 1991 its murder rate had nearly doubled. Neighborhoods were armored with steel bars, and a crack market worth $200 million thrived in the shadow of the world's busiest border crossing. How did a sunny Navy town become ground zero for cartel violence and gang warfare within a few short years? The truth behind San Diego's most dangerous era is far darker and more urgent than its postcards ever revealed. San Isidro, wedged between Tijuana and the rest of San Diego, became the busiest land border crossing in the Western Hemisphere by the late 1980s. On any given day, thousands of cars and trucks crawled through its checkpoints, creating a perfect maze for traffickers moving cocaine, marijuana, and meth north. The Arellano-Felix cartel, rising to power in Tijuana, seized control of this corridor, turning it into a high-speed conveyor belt for drugs. Federal agents watched as seizures along the border shot up by more than 300% between 1985 and 1990, yet even these record busts barely scratched the surface. One retired Border Patrol agent recalled, "For every load we stopped, 10 more made it through. It was a river, not a trickle." By 1986, the FBI labeled San Diego a major drug corridor, ranking it alongside Miami and El Paso as a national supply artery. Cartel runners stashed kilos under seats, inside gas tanks, and in hidden panels, while local gangs handled distribution on the U.S. side. The city's geography, sun-bleached suburbs pressed right up against the border fence, meant that cartel violence and drug money flowed directly into neighborhoods like Chula Vista and National City. The volume was staggering. Millions in narcotics crossed every week, fueling a street market that would soon explode. The border was not just a line on the map. It was the engine driving San Diego's transformation from Navy town to crime capital. Crack cocaine hit San Diego in 1984, and within months, the transformation was unmistakable. By 1989, the DEA pegged the city's crack market at $200 million a year, money changing hands in alleys, on street corners, and inside homes that had once belonged to working families. Emergency room doctors saw cocaine-related visits triple between 1985 and 1988 as overdoses and violence poured through hospital doors night after night. In neighborhoods like Logan Heights and Encanto, the damage was everywhere. Houses that once echoed with kids' laughter now had bars bolted across every window. Parents pooled money for metal security doors, while realtors quietly dropped property values block by block. Crack houses popped up overnight, drawing a steady stream of strangers and police cars. One longtime resident remembered the change. "We never locked our doors before. By 1986, every house on this street had bars. My mom slept with a bat under her bed." The sense of safety vanished. Families who could moved north. Those who stayed lived with the constant fear of stray bullets and break-ins. The profits from crack did not just line dealers' pockets, they lured local gangs into open warfare over street corners and customers. The city's reputation for sun and surf faded fast in the neighborhoods hardest hit. For many, the only reminders of the old San Diego were the faded paint on the houses and the sound of sirens echoing through the night. By 1990, San Diego's gang problem had exploded from a handful of cliques to more than 120 documented sets, according to police logs. In just 5 years, the city's gang count more than doubled, fueled by the crack trade and easy access to guns. Bloods and Crips, once mostly confined to Los Angeles, carved out new turf across southeast San Diego and East County. Latino gangs like Logan Heights and Varillo Viejo fought for control of corners and corridors, sometimes clashing with black sets, sometimes with cartel-backed crews. Neighborhoods like Lincoln Park, Skyline, and Paradise Hills became battlegrounds. In 1990 alone, police recorded 247 gang-related shootings within city limits, nearly one every day. Drive-by shootings lit up residential streets, bullets punching through windows and playground fences. The violence did not stop at gang boundaries. Children were hit by stray gunfire while riding their bikes or playing in front yards. Parents pulled their kids off the streets before sunset, but even that was not always enough. One mother in Encanto described ducking to the floor when gunshots rang out, clutching her daughter as bullets tore through their living room wall. For many families, sleep meant dragging mattresses into hallways or into bathtubs, hoping brick and porcelain could stop what drywall could not. The city's reputation as a sunny paradise felt like a cruel joke to those trapped in neighborhoods where sirens drowned out the sound of the ocean. Each night, the war for territory left behind another list of victims, most of them not even old enough to understand what the fighting was really about. In 1990, the city woke up to a new kind of terror. Cleophus Prince Jr. stalked apartment complexes in Claremont and University City, targeting women in places once thought untouchable by street violence. 6 women lost their lives that year: Janet M. Hayton, Tiffany Page Schultz, Holly Ann Tarr, Pamela Clark, Amber Clark, and Louise Ann McFarland. Their names became headlines, but for their families, the loss never faded. Prince's attacks shattered the illusion that violence stayed on the other side of the freeway. Suddenly, even the suburbs felt hunted. The fear was not new for everyone. From 1979 to 1984, David Allen Lucas crept into homes from Mira Mesa to the South Bay. He strangled and stabbed his victims, including Suzanne Jacobs and Jody Santiago, leaving a trail of grief that stretched across neighborhoods. Lucas was finally caught in 1984, but the damage lingered. Parents double-locked their doors and watched strangers with suspicion. The terror stretched up the highways, too. William Bonin, known as the Freeway Killer, claimed victims along Interstate 5 in the early 1980s. His crimes crossed county lines, but his reach into San Diego County reminded everyone that danger could come from anywhere. Each case forced residents to question the safety of their routines, walking to cars at night, jogging alone, trusting the quiet of their own streets. Violence no longer respected boundaries. In San Diego, anyone could become a target. San Diego's police force was stretched to the breaking point. By the late 1980s, the city had one of the worst officer-to-resident ratios in California, leaving entire neighborhoods with barely any patrols. Criminal cases piled up faster than detectives could clear them. In 1988, a scandal rocked the department. Officers were caught stealing narcotics from the evidence room. Hundreds of kilograms vanished, and at least 10 detectives faced charges. Law enforcement collapsed, especially in communities already hit hard by violence. Witnesses feared coming forward, knowing convictions were rare and retaliation was real. A retired San Diego Police Department detective later admitted, "We were outnumbered and outgunned. People stopped believing the police could protect them." The system that was supposed to keep order had become another source of fear. Residents watched as the line between law and lawlessness blurred, and the city's promise of safety slipped even further away. As violence tore through southeast San Diego, families who could afford to leave packed up and moved north, accelerating white flight to the suburbs. The exodus hollowed out neighborhoods, leaving behind boarded-up businesses and empty homes. Schools scrambled to keep students safe, installing metal detectors at entrances and hiring security guards to patrol hallways. The city's image crisis and community outrage forced local leaders to act. By the mid-1990s, federal and state task forces poured resources into San Diego, targeting gang hotspots and drug corridors. Police numbers swelled, and the new 3 strikes law put repeat offenders behind bars for decades. Gang injunctions banned known members from gathering in public, and patrol cars became a constant presence on streets once abandoned after dark. For the first time in years, the number of shootings and murders began to drop. A local historian summed up the moment. It wasn't just more cops. It was the city finally admitting how bad things had gotten. San Diego's violent legacy is not just history. It is a warning. The same border still moves billions in drugs and people each year. Communities shaped by fear now battle gentrification and inequality rather than gunfire. What we ignore in the shadows today returns, changed, on tomorrow's streets. Share your thoughts below.